and gentlemen, welcome back to this week's episode of the Sensei Playbook podcast, marketing and sales strategy for the dealer world so that you can do less and hopefully make more. We have an awesome episode in store for you today. None other than Fabiola Mathis, general manager of the Cavender Mercedes-Benz dealership in Lubbock, Texas. She is incredible, a real spitfire. I'm telling you, the next 45 minutes are jam-packed with sage advice, all kinds of wisdom nuggets. You're going to be better for listening or viewing. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Sensei Playbook, the ultimate how-to podcast for growing and amplifying your brand within the digital world's 3-second landscape. Join Bill Courtwright and Chris Snellgrove as they discuss the right tools and strategies for building the best online marketing strategy for your business. Tune in to leading business leaders who share information and impart inspiration on providing smooth customer experience and successfully scaling your venture. This is your chance to achieve rapid growth in the highly competitive online market. Let's get this episode started with your hosts, Bill and Chris.
Are you from there? Where are you from?
So I was born in El Paso, and that's we were there until I was 9, and then my dad got a job in Maine with LL Bean. I'm sure you guys are familiar with LL Bean, and my dad worked for them for 20 years, and I was up there for 9 years, and then when I turned 17, I went to college, and UTSA gave me an academic scholarship. So I was like, okay, go back to Texas, and I have a scholarship. Like, I'm out. Bye, mate. I was ready to go. So that's how I ended up at UTSA and in San Antonio.
Very cool. Yeah, we're going to hear that story because that's very cool. And I love Texas, one of my favorite states, especially San Antonio.
I love San Antonio. And you know what's crazy is everybody's like, "How's Lubbock? Do you miss San Antonio?" And I'm like, I'm kind of digging Lubbock. Like, no traffic. The people are so nice. They're so polite. It's a small town feel in a bigger city. So like, I can still go to the mall and find the stores that I'm looking for, but I also don't have to deal with people's attitude because they've been in traffic. So people tend to be a little bit nicer when there's no traffic.
So it's Lubbock you're in now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, yeah, if you think San Antonio's traffic's bad, come to Atlanta.
Been to Atlanta. So when I was with Audi, I did my Audi experience there, and I was like, nope, never again. Sorry, Atlanta.
Lubbock is great. So Fabiola, tell us, how did you make your way from college to the car business? What was that road like?
So actually I was pre-law in college, and I wanted to be an attorney, just like a lot of people wanted to be. And I hit a point where I was like, okay, well, I don't know how I'm going to make this happen. But then I started feeling what an attorney was going to be. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be a book person. I like to be in front of people. So I actually started working with Nordstrom, and I was an intern with their intern program with Nordstrom my junior year. So that's kind of how I got into sales. And I was ushered into commission sales by working with them. And then next thing you know, I was actually dating somebody in the car business. And I was like, if this dude can make that kind of money, so can I. So that's essentially how I kind of got the bug. And then my roommate's ex-boyfriend was actually a sales manager at the time at a Toyota store. And he asked me, he's like, have you ever considered the car business? And I'm like, no, but I actually am a car girl. Like, I used to have a show car. My dad got me into cars. I love cars. So it kind of made sense. And so I got the interview, and next thing you know, I'm working at a Toyota store selling Toyotas.
And when was that, Fabiola?
That was 11 years ago in February. So
okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy how I got ushered in, but I guess it kind of makes sense. I was in a European car club when I was in San Antonio in college. So I love cars. I was at a car show every single weekend. So it just it made sense without making sense.
So you started as a car basically salesperson 11 years ago?
Yes, sir.
Well, you have fast-tracked the way to a general manager's position, I'll tell you. I've been in the car business a long time.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, that's extraordinary. That's fast growth.
It definitely is. And I think that I probably would have grown faster if I would have found the right group, because I actually started with Cavender 6 years ago next week. And I started as an internet salesperson. So I went back into sales. The Cavenders have always felt that you don't know where you're going if you haven't been in the position before you. So they start everyone in sales, and you have to work your way up no matter who you are. So I started back in sales, even though I was coming from a finance position, and I trusted them. And they said, look, if we can see that you can sell some cars, we'll start moving you up the chain. And they lived up to their word. And, I started in sales 6 years ago with the Cavenders, and now I'm a GM. So
yeah, that's fast. So what do you attribute that fast growth to? I mean, with just pure ambition, or what was, what's the driving force?
It's a little bit of everything. So I've always been that person that if you tell me I can't do something, I'm just going to do it to like rub it in your face. Like that's just a little bit of me, you know. I've always been very tenacious. I've always known I wanted to be a general manager. I wanted to be a dealer principal one day as well. And that's still part of my path. But also I was surrounded by people that believed in me. That was the number one thing that I can attest to. A lot of my success has been, you know, I'm great myself and I know I'm great, but the people around me were greater. And I actually took the time to listen to what they had to say and pay attention to why they're successful and start doing a lot of those things that they're teaching me. So you also have to be a student of the game to get better at it, essentially. And I'm just a combination of a bunch of people that invested into me. And I kind of want to be their payoff. It's like I invested in this person and I want to make them proud. So that was another driving force that just kind of helped me get to where I'm at now.
Who are some of your direct mentors in the business?
So one of my biggest mentors is Josh Hoffert. He is our platform director here in West Texas, and he was the one that I interviewed with. And years later, my old finance director, Brandon Brock, who's also another one of my mentors, he said, yeah, after you left the interview, he said, that's going to be my next sales manager. And so just the fact that they believed in me and they knew that I would one day become one of their managers was just kind of cool. Josh Hoffert is the type of person that is very little words come out of his mouth. He doesn't say much, but he thinks a lot. So when he does say something, it just holds so much that he doesn't have to be a chatterbox. Just his actions, the way that he does things, the way that he plans things, like that is somebody you want to follow. And that's why I'll follow him to the ends of the earth, because he's just somebody that I've always had as a mentor. Rick Cavender has also been a really big influence because he's actually was at the Audi store, and just his attitude on how he treats his salespeople, how he treats the community. His biggest thing is if you take care of the community, they'll take care of you. So just the fact that he does a lot of, you know, community outreach within San Antonio and even now West Texas and now Oklahoma too. It just makes me really proud to be with an organization and around somebody who has such a positive influence. And it's wild because I was selling one of my first cars at Audi, and Rick comes in and starts shaking my customer's hand. And he goes, oh man, I used to sell Buicks to this guy way back in the day when I was still selling. And I was like, how do you remember this? This is like 30 years ago. And he's somebody that I admire, and he's such a kind person to customers, to everybody around him. I have never seen him ever in a bad mood, and he's just somebody that I look up to, that I want to emulate, you know.
That's refreshing. That is so cool.
That is
and
very
how
cool.
many stores do y'all have now?
So, oh gosh, that's a question. I think we have 18, 20.
Wow.
Probably more than that. So we have the two headquartered stores, the big ones, which are Cavender and Audi in San Antonio. Out here in West Texas, we have a BMW, Cadillac, Lexus, Audi, and then Mercedes. So 5 stores. And then we have 2 stores in Midland, the Subaru, and then the Mercedes-Benz. And then we have a bunch of them in Oklahoma. I think there's 4 or 5 in Oklahoma. And then outside of Houston, we have a couple of stores as well. So we're growing pretty fast.
Mainly luxury brands. Y'all stick with the luxuries?
Not really. We've got a lot of domestics out in Oklahoma and also in the Houston area. So we have Chevy, GMC. We've got Ford store now. We've got Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Polaris. So we have a little bit of everything.
Wow, that's a big organization.
It definitely is. And like another thing is, so coming from our group comes Julie Herrera, and Julie Herrera is actually the now owner of her own group out in Austin, but she came from the Cavender auto family, and she used to be the general manager for the Audi store in San Antonio. So she was kind of one of the first female pioneers that I've been kind of following her path as well. And now she's an owner of the Toyota store and the Subaru store in Austin, and she created her own group from the Cavenders.
Wow, that's neat.
Yeah, it is super cool. Yeah. And I feel like it took me kind of a long time to find the right group, because I worked for other groups. I worked for good groups too, not saying anything bad about them, but I just didn't see a future with them because I would see a lot of those roadblocks because I am a woman. I don't know why, but I just nodded my head and said, it is what it is. And instead of grinding about it, I just kind of found the people that were going to appreciate me for me, because there's a lot of people out there that I can tell you, if you're unhappy where you're at, that doesn't mean you have to stay there. if you know you're good at what you do and you are an asset, like you have to remember you are the person that makes your organization money. You are an asset, and they should be able to usher you into management roles and growth opportunities. And they're not, you might not be with the right group, or maybe you're just not working hard enough. You got to look internally and say, hey, if I'm not up for promotion, am I really putting in that work too? So
But
kind of.
but it is an industry that historically has been dominated by men. And so so like what that's I love to hear like the strides that you guys are making. The female leads in the industry. That's so cool.
Yeah. And the great thing about it is, so like I used to work at a Toyota store, and at one point we were actually featured in a local magazine because we had 10 female, salespeople and, people in service that were also female. So I feel like the industry is starting to see value there, but there's some people that are just old school and hard headed, and they think that women are this, this, and this, and it's not going to attest to their success, but they're kind of going to miss the ball, because at the end of the day, women are now a big majority of consumers, and they control the money in the household most times. Like, who usually balances the checkbook between a wife and a husband?
Yeah.
Probably usually the wife in most cases. And people are forgetting that we have choices. We have a strong opinion. And instead of staying home and being caregivers, which I think is extremely hard, but just the fact that, we're out there, we're out in the workforce, we're working for our money. Why aren't we part of the conversation either? And we want to see ourselves in the dealership. So as a consumer, when I see a female in a role of power, I'm like, that's who I want to do business with, because that's me. They're going to understand me more than anybody else. And so like for me, I'm a mom of 3, and I literally just had my babies 5 months ago. I have twins that are 5 months old, and
Oh, wow.
I have a daughter that's 2 years old. So if anybody gets the mom guilt, it's me.
That's awesome. I have twins. And your twins are what sex are they?
Oh, they're boy and girl. You have twins?
Like, oh yeah. My
Okay.
boy girl twins are 12. They'll be 13 next month.
No way. Yeah, I got boy
Yeah.
girl twins.
Yes, they're awesome. Oh my God, the bond is incredible, and they've always been super close. Though they bicker like an old married couple from time to time, and right now they're at that age where they're bickering a lot. But they've always been. You still see them like they'll bicker, and then you'll see them cuddled up on the couch watching a movie together,
Oh,
and it's awesome. Yeah,
that's so cool. They have like a built-in buddy for life,
they
which
do.
is super cool. Yeah. And
It
then
is.
my husband and I were trying to decide if we wanted to have another kid, because we were super happy with one of ours. And my husband's also in the car business. He works for a domestic, and I've always done a European luxury line. So we're always fighting about, who's got the better stuff, So he's more the domestic guy. I'm the fancy pants Euro girl over here. So, but my husband is Army retiree, so he's a veteran, and he just didn't know what he wanted to do with his career. And I told him, I'm like, you love cars, like, why don't you think about going in the car business? And he did, and he fell in love with it. And I hate to say it, but he's damn good at it.
That's awesome.
Don't tell him I said that.
No, we're not telling. But going back to what you were talking about when people are going to buy cars, I think buying from a female is less threatening, because we often talk about the customer experience. And we just did a training class a couple of days ago at a dealership, and we talked about the fact that John Kravchik from Hyundai Motor America said one time that consumers would rather go to the dentist than go buy a car. I mean, that's the stigma attached to the car business, right? The consumers would often prefer a root canal than the car buying process. So I think that females are a refreshing alternative, because they are less threatening. I just bought a car 2 weeks ago, and we had a female consultant, and it was awesome. So I love that. That's very it's just, I think it's a good thing.
That's cool. What you end up buying? I always gotta ask.
So my fiance, we were looking at, she had an Infiniti. She had a
Okay.
little sports car, a Q60 that was stolen in August.
Oh
And so,
no.
yeah, I know, it was crazy. We just replaced it with a Q55, or no, QX55, the small SUV.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
crossover.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was, she stayed with Infiniti. We looked at the Tesla. I just couldn't do it. It was weird. I mean, just driving, it was too quiet. Like if it had any type of sound at all, I would have pulled the trigger. But it was just driving. It was like driving a golf cart.
You
with
know
no
what
sound.
that's crazy is I love EV.
You
I
do?
absolutely love EV. I just don't like the Tesla that there's no more buttons. I hate
Yeah.
not being able to have the steering controls, like the controls in the
Right.
middle. Like you have to go to an iPad, and I start thinking, I'm like, this is actually kind of a big safety concern. Like, how can you realistically be driving and try to increase the volume, like turn it up, And then you have to go to your iPad, go to the settings, go to the audio, and then turn it up. And I'm just like, guys, like, we're trying to keep our customers more safe, and you're adding more steps. Like, that's
It's
kind of
weird.
counterproductive.
Yeah, it's weird. I saw a sales manager pull up in one of the Porsche UVs, and I asked him, I was like, "Is it silent?" He goes, "Oh no, I can push a button and produce sound." And I was like, "That's cool."
Yeah,
Like
it's
that.
cool. So that's one thing I love about Porsches. And there's a lot of them that do that. Like, for example, like on all of our EVs, you have the option of like hearing some kind of audio, or you can turn it up or turn it down. I prefer EVs because, being a woman, I don't like going to gas stations.
Yeah.
I think that they're unsafe, they're unsanitary, they're just not a place I want to be. And coincidentally, you always have to go when you don't have time, or
Yeah.
when it's already dark and unsafe to be there by yourself. So for me, it's been so convenient. I've had an EV for probably 2.5 years now, and all I do is go home, plug it in, and ready to go the next morning. And
That's
I
awesome.
love the instant torque. I'm a lead foot. I tell everybody I don't speed, but I get to the limit really, really fast.
Especially those cars are so fast. It's like
They're
there's
super
no
fast.
there's no hesitation. There's no
No
there's no lag.
combustible engine, so you don't have to like have spark plugs. And most of them, like for example, on our EVs, you don't even have to service it until 20,000 miles.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Like, how convenient is that you don't have to bring it in for service unless, you crack a windshield or something, that for 20,000 miles, you have the comfort of your car working, and you don't have to really do anything other than just basic upkeep, just making sure, you change out your filter, especially out in West Texas. It is dusty out here. So, that's one thing, but it's kind of cool. And I fallen in love with EV, and that's kind of the direction that every manufacturer is going. So I said, you know what, I'm going to try it. And I actually prefer it. And I've had some fast cars. Like, I've had a TTRS, and that was my favorite car of all time so far that I've had. And
That's an Audi, right?
Yeah, that's an Audi. And now I have the EQS 580 here with Mercedes. And I'm like, dude, this thing can haul buns. Like, whoa, like, it kind of took me for surprise there.
Yeah, you step on it and it goes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the segue from, go ahead.
Oh, no,
go ahead, Fabiola.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, now that we're on the tip of technology, and you had mentioned that you had started in internet sales at Cavender, and working in the BDC. What type of technology are you and Cavender implementing, whether new or you've had it your whole time there, to help with the sales process from the technological front?
So back when I was at Toyota, there was a lot of stuff that we didn't have that ushering into Audi we did. So like, for example, just communicating through text messages. Like most consumers are buying cars through their cell phones and not necessarily taking the phone call. We don't even listen to voicemails anymore. We usually just read the words that are left on the voicemail, but don't really actually listen to it. So we really have to pivot. And I know the Cavenders have done a phenomenal job of pivoting, of being 100% transparent, and also bettering the communication style that the customer chooses. So a lot of people go through texting. So they implemented the texting not only for sales, but also for their service side. So, they'll text you when your vehicle is ready. They'll text you, reminders of your appointment. If you're at work and you're trying to buy, like, let's say right now with my team, we're basically trying to sell this GLS to a customer that he's in the oil fields, and they don't get a lot of good reception in some places. So sometimes the best way to communicate with him has been through text message. And so that's one way we're kind of being a lot better than some groups, because some groups still won't adapt to text messaging. And I know it's impersonal, but it's not what we want. It's what the consumer wants. And I think that that's what a lot of people are forgetting, that we want it a certain way because it's easier for us, but we need to find out what's good for our customer, not necessarily what's good for us. And a lot of dealerships and a lot of ownerships are still under that mindset that they're still in full control, but they're not. They need to be adhering, and they need to be flexible, and they need to be progressing with their customer just as they're moving. Same thing goes with text messaging. Right now in service, we actually send text videos to our customers so that they can see what we're talking about. So like, that's one big thing the Cavenders have done, is when you come in for service, the technician will get the phone and, go around the vehicle, take a video and say, hey, your brake pads are here. This is what I'm suggesting. I see this is going on. You also need to do this, but physically showing the customer the proof that, hey, you are needing new tires. You are needing new brake pads. So it's really cool that they're starting to do that kind of technology to start getting in front of the customer and being a little bit more transparent, instead of, when your car goes for service and then it disappears for a couple of days or a couple of hours, and then you never know what happened,
Or they're saying you need to do this, and that. You're like, do I really? But the video, wow, that's really smart.
Yeah, that's a technology that the Cavenders have really pushed forward. I know there's a lot of stores that most of them are between 90 and 100% video retrieval for their customers. So that's a lot of work that the technician is putting in. But like you said, the customer's like, do I really need to? But when you show them, the customer is less likely to resist, and a lot of it comes from safety. And that's one thing that I'm really big about, is making sure our customers are safe when it comes to the service department. So making sure our service advisors know how to tell the customer, hey, your tires are here and they need to be here. So that is the safety thing that we don't feel comfortable giving you your car back when your tires are basically bald. So that's a communication that we have to start getting better about. And sometimes through text message and through videos, people actually pay attention. But if, my service advisor calls you and goes, hey, you need new tires, what's the first thing you're going to say?
Do I really?
Do I really? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're trying to answer that. So the technology about that, a lot of really good things that we're doing is just getting out into the community, like digitally. So doing a lot more social media posting, kind of making it an experience to come buy a car. Because for me, I've been on this side of everything, but I've also been on the consumer side. And like you said, going to a car dealership feels like a grind, but it really doesn't have to be, because our consumers are so smart nowadays. There are so many resources out there that they know how much their car should be worth that they're trading in, give or take a little bit, because, there's some things that they might not see. They know who the competitors are. They know what the pricing should be like. So they know what the banks are going to put their rates at. So our customers are coming in really smart. And if you are running your dealership like your customers don't know anything, you're going to run your dealership into the ground, because our consumers are smarter than ever. So if we make it easy for them and say, hey, we're the best priced, you saw us, you're here for a reason. The trade-in value of your vehicle was this, but you also didn't tell me that there was a hit on the side, or you've got cracked windshields or new tires, that's when we can step in. But most of our consumers just come in super, super educated, and we have to change the way that we are kind of guiding our customer as well. When before it was just, come on in. One thing I learned that I was looking at statistics, the average consumer used to go to 3 to 4 dealerships, and now the average consumer goes to less than 1.
I believe it.
It's like, you really have to have a good internet process. And being the internet sales, I used to be the BDC manager, and then I was the internet sales director. So my bread and butter was selling on the internet. And when I left Audi Dominion, we had sold 50% of our total monthly sales through the internet. So the way that the Cavenders have it is they have a specific process with internet. So it's not like everybody can get an internet lead and have the customer wait on you. We wait on them. So we have a design team that all they do every single day is just talk to customers and take leads. Most of our dealerships are under 30 seconds for lead response times, because if the customer is wanting an answer, they're going to want it quick, or they're going to go somewhere else. And 2, they're not going to wait till you sell a car to somebody in front of you and wait for your answer. So we have somebody designated sitting there, making sure that we're getting those answers straight to the consumers.
Smart.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's
Going back to this, going back to the social media initiative, are you getting, are your salespeople getting involved with user-generated content on your social media channels?
So the good thing is we have a company that does our social media, but they're basically their own creators. Just like I tell everybody, you should own your own business. And when you own your own business, what do? You market it, and they know who they're marketing to. So they have to create a user experience based on their audience. So if I have somebody who's in their 20s, they're going to want something very different than somebody who is selling in their 30s, because they have a different audience. So that's one thing that I'm teaching them on, how to create that content according to the people that are in their audience instead of the people that they want to sell to. So I told them, post the cool cars, post the G-Wagons, the R8, but also post the Honda Accords, the C300s that, are very inexpensively priced, but are certified. Post out there. Do you have somebody in your social media that might have they're in the process of rebuilding their credit? Put up something like that. So they're creating their own content, which is awesome. But also I partner with our marketing company that does all of our Facebook and Instagram posts. And I'm basically telling them what to post, because I have a marketing background. So for me, I told them, I'm like, hey, I'm the only female GM in all of Lubbock. And I think in all of West Texas as well. which I'm just trying to confirm, but I told them, I'm like, post that, because when you see
Yeah.
yourself in the place that you're buying from, people are going to connect better with. And just like you said, you had a great experience with a female, and I tell everybody, who doesn't want to work with a female sales consultant? One, we're not going to come off as aggressive, as intimidating. We're a little bit more motherly, that's not a bad thing. And we're actually going to take the time to listen. Not that men can't do that, but I feel that women have just kind of an extra empathy touch in there, and we feel emotions a little bit deeper in some cases. And I feel like if we know how our consumer feels, we're going to be able to help them in their situation and kind of give that extra little like empathy, that little extra detail that maybe a guy might not see. But sometimes things aren't black and white. Like our customers might not tell us, hey, I'm really nervous about this purchase, but I can see it. I can emotionally see the body language of a customer, when somebody who might not have that kind of experience might not see that. So not saying that women are better than men. I just feel like we have different skill sets. I feel like, one can do something better than the other. And like I tell everybody, I don't like to separate men and women, but I've been separated. So I just kind of roll with what I've got. And I had a sales manager tell me, he's like, it's going to be your biggest downfall to be a woman in the car business, but it's also going to be the biggest reason why you will be great at what you do. And he goes, you got to take the wins when you get the wins, and just take the losses on the chin, and just know that you're either working with the wrong person or you're working with the wrong organization if you don't feel empowered being a woman in the car business. And I feel extremely empowered by the Cavenders. So that's kind of why I've stuck around,
That's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, certainly is.
Bill, you were just talking about this in the training on Monday with the group we trained. Relatability equals credibility. Yeah.
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 Absolutely.
And the proof is in the pudding. And the cool thing is, so I don't know if you guys know this, but so we have the Cavender family, and then there's the Cavender Auto group. So there's two different ones. They split between the cousins and the brothers. I'm with the brothers, Cavender Auto family, and Rick and Stephen Cavender, they have daughters. And their daughters are in the car business. So that is kind of a big reason why, because they see the greatness in their daughters. They see the hard work that, Kate Dawson and Clara Cavender have put in. And even Rick's other daughter, she owns her own catering company. She's like this amazing chef that has her own book. So they see the greatness that their girls are kind of bringing into the world. And they're like, wow, maybe we should start to bring some of that talent into our organization. So they've been doing a lot of great things. Like after my first pregnancy, they, as an organization, started giving us maternity leave, and we get 12 weeks paid maternity leave, which is phenomenal. But not only just for the woman, but also for the dad, because what better connection can you make with your child than, within the first couple of weeks of their lives? And plus, we're a little, we need a little help too as soon as we have a baby. So
especially with the twins. Wow. Are they sleeping through the night?
Yes, they are. So we
That's
usually
amazing.
put them down around 9:30. My husband wakes up at midnight and gives them a bottle while they're kind of still sleeping. And they usually sleep about until 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. Like, they're phenomenal, because my husband, and it's kind of weird, my husband gave up his career, and he's a stay-at-home dad right now. So he takes care of 3 kids under 2, and he'll eventually go back once we kind of figure out, what we're going to do. But my husband said, why wouldn't I give up my career? I've only been in it for 2 years, and you've been doing this for more than 10 years. Why wouldn't I support you? And he's like, I believe in you. I know that you're going to lead us to the best possible opportunities for our family. So he quit his job immediately when I got this offer, and he's like, let's go to Lubbock. If anything, I had more doubt than he did, but he truly believed in me. And I have so much respect, and I'm so proud of him for taking on that dad role. And like, he's such a phenomenal father to give up his career so that I can flourish in mine. So
that's
kind
awesome. And he's got a tougher job right now.
He does. And that's what I tell him. I'm like, I don't know if I could stay home with 3 kids. That would drive me crazy.
Yeah.
But he's been taking it like a champ. He has them on a set schedule. The babies are thriving. Our daughter is happy. Like, he's in the middle of like trying to potty train her. And I'm like, in what world was I ever going to think that, this like guy who used to be in the army and did multiple tours, in Afghanistan, is sitting with this little girl potty training her. And he's like, man, I got to tell you, like, it's tough, but he's like, it's possible. If I could do that, I could do this.
That's right. You can do anything. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I think he's a superhero, and I can't thank him enough for giving up his career for our family and helping me with my career. So he's been a big influence, and so has my family. They've missed me a lot. When you're in the car business, you have to give up time with your family to be able to grow. So, not having the holidays off, never having, Saturdays off. I've missed countless birthdays and anniversaries and weddings, and a lot of time with my family to have this career, but I wouldn't do it again and change anything otherwise, because this career has brought so much happiness into my life, and I'm so thankful for it. So as a GM, the biggest thing that I want to accomplish is I want to give this feeling to everybody that's on my staff. I don't really want to be known as a boss. I want to be known as a coach and somebody who helps people have a better life for themselves and their families. So that is my number one job, is just to make sure everybody gets fairly paid and is able to go home happily and provide for their families. And if I can make that difference in my team, then I feel like my career will be kind of worth all that hard work,
It sounds like y'all have an amazing culture within that organization. And, Bill and I often talk about like culture defines companies. And if you don't have the proper culture and people aren't happy, they don't stick around. So yeah, it sounds amazing.
Yeah. And money is a motivator, but so is happiness. Like, I know I can walk into any dealership and I'm going to make money, but am I going to be happy? Am I going to feel supported? Am I going to feel like I am rightfully seen as an equal? And that's one thing that I've always seen. And it's kind of crazy. When I got promoted, Stephen Cavender came out to the store, and I told him, Stephen, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. And he goes, Fabiola, no. He's like, this isn't an opportunity. And he goes, this was your hard work. You have earned and deserved this store. This is just all you. And it kind of made me feel like, wow, like, thank you. That's so cool that they really feel that I've earned this position, nothing against the people that have had the family, but I didn't know anybody in the car business. I just got ahead by putting my nose to the grind, working hard, staying the extra hours, going the extra mile, doing the extra things for my coworkers to encourage a good relationship with them. But I've never worked with anybody I didn't like. And the reason why is because I chose that. My mom taught me one thing, and she says, if somebody treats you bad, shame on them, but don't change who you are according to how somebody wants to treat you.
That's right. That's good. Great advice.
Very
So
smart.
when you have that type of culture, you tend to execute an excellent customer experience, because when your people are happy, they're going to extend that happiness into the customers.
Oh, definitely. Yep. And just like I say, if our employees are happy, what are they going to do? They're going to make our customers happy.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about the customers if you worry about your employees, because when somebody's happy, they're producing, they're going to put a great attitude, and they're going to actually go the extra mile without you having to pay them extra, just if you're happy. Yeah. And it's really crazy. So, I actually went into this training with, one of our like corporate trainers that comes in for the Cavenders. And he made a really good point that he says that in, basically our country, it says we're the only country in the world that it says in the pursuit of happiness. We're the only country in the world that actually has any type of thing having to do with emotion in like their declaration or, any government document. And in the United States, in the pursuit of happiness. So it's kind of cool to be in an organization that actually ushers that. I thought that was a really cool thing. I'm kind of a nerd, so.
No, that's very cool. Very cool. So Fabiola, you've done an excellent job in the most eloquent way of explaining who you are, where you come from, and where your feet are firmly planted. If you could, for a moment, just lean into the future a little bit. What does the next 3 to 5 years look like for you in the Cavender Group?
So what I really want to do is I really want to become a dealer principal. So I really want to buy into the dealership because I believe in it. And I will put my money on the line because that's basically what you do when you're a dealer principal. And I want to have this kind of influence on everybody around me. One big thing is like, not only am I female, but I'm also Mexican. Both of my parents are from Mexico, and I'm bilingual. And that's one thing that has really helped me in my career, is being able to talk and speak to our customers that are bilingual or mostly speak Spanish. So that's one thing that I want to see a little bit more in the organization is, start seeing more people get into those roles, which we have a really good diversity right now, but I just want to see more women. I want to see more women in the dealerships. I want to see more people of color, of different, nationalities and backgrounds, a little bit more diversity, which I think the Cavender Group has done a phenomenal job. I just want more of it. Obviously, I'm not a person that just likes mediocre. I want it to the max. And that's one thing I really want to see. I just hired a female finance manager in my dealership, and she's been phenomenal already. So that's what I want to see in the next 3 to 5 years, is a little bit more diversity of people that look like me, that might have a background like me, and be that dealer principal, because I know I'm going to get there. And I know the Cavenders have already, told me, hey, just put in the work, put in the time, and you'll have our backing and our support. So I have trusted them thus far in my career, and they have never failed me on delivering that. If I put in the work, the opportunity will come.
That's awesome.
Sage advice. Fabulous Fabiola Mathis. I have no doubt you've heard that before.
Well, it's so that was kind of like my tagline when I was in sales. I'd be like, just ask for Fabulous Fab. And when people can't say my name, that's why I'm like, just call me Fab. It's not a big deal. And people are like, oh, can I call you Fabulous? And I'm like, heck yeah, you can call me Fabulous. I'll take it all day long. And and a lot of people know me. I'm kind of, like I said, I'm kind of fancy pants. I'm a little bougie. I'm a little high maintenance, but I say I can be high maintenance because I'm footing the bill. So I don't have a problem with that, but I will always show up. I'm very rarely will you ever see me in flats. I'm always in high heels. I always have my hair done, my makeup done, my nails done. I'm very feminine and I'm very girly, but I love cars. I can talk cars. I can talk shop. I have a passion for it. There's nothing more exciting than getting in a car and just going fast and taking the turns and having the performance. And like that feeling that I get when I get in my car every single day is the same feeling that I want to share with my customers. And that's what excites me about coming to work every single day, is sharing that happiness with everybody around me.
Don't ever apologize for a high standard.
That's right.
I blame my parents. My dad always said, he's like, well, you're accustomed to nice things, but with nice things come a nice price, which means you got to have a job that will let you have those things. So my dad says, I don't want you to ever depend on anybody else to take care of you. So you learn to take care of yourself, because when you find the right partner in your life, he won't feel like he has to take care of you. He'll be a partner with you, and you'll have a better relationship with that person if you feel like you're partners instead of one has to take care of the other.
Love it. Love it. Well, this has been an awesome experience. Before we close out, Chris, did you have anything else you'd like to ask?
I would just like to ask, what are some of the habits or personal growth rituals that you operate with that kind of help you become the success that you are?
Just a lot of hard work, put in a lot of hours. I'm here every single day, mostly 8 to 8 every day, 6 days a week, while I'm, getting everything ready. So you got to be able to work the hours, have a positive attitude. That is really what's going to win you over in anything that you do in your life, is just having a positive outlook, not letting people's opinions influence you, because it's about what you think of yourself, not necessarily what people think of you, but also being conscientious of what you're putting out there, because some people may be good, but they're putting off a different vibe. So you have to be conscientious of what you're also putting out, especially when you're in a leadership position. Trusting the people around you, finding the right organization that believes in you. That is a big one. And using all your toolbox, everything in there to be as great as you can get. So like for me, I know that I'm going to be big proponent and a good partner for anybody that's Hispanic in the community, for all women in the community. But because I also have to usher people that are like me into my organization. So I can't just turn away and say, well, I only want to work with this person or this person. No, you got to have that diversity, because somebody gave you a chance at one point in time, and you got to give that person a chance. You'll always be successful if you don't think that you're the smartest person in the room. You always have to have room for growth and actually pay attention to the people that are greater than you. I'm very disciplined. That's one thing you will learn, is I'm all about process, and discipline and accountability. So if you implement something, you also have to have the accountability that goes along with it. That if I tell you to do something, I also have to know to follow up with you that you actually did it. And if that person didn't do it, there has to be kind of a consequence to their accountability, or else you're never going to make anybody greater than they are right now. I'm a big Star Wars nerd, so my motto is do or do not. There is no try. So when someone's like, I'm trying, and I'm like, stop it. Trying means that you're just looking for the failure.
That is one of my pet peeves when people say I try. I go, don't try. Either do it or don't.
Yeah.
Don't try.
Don't try. Because if you tell me, hey, I did this and it failed me, you're going to grow from that. But if you tell me that you're just trying, I think trying is like in limbo, like you're not really achieving or failing, but you learn from failing and you learn from achieving, but you don't learn anything from trying. So that's kind of like a pet peeve of mine that I'm like, stop trying and just do it.
Fun fact, my son's name is Jedi, and it's his birth name, Jedi Christopher Snellgrove. Yeah.
Such a cool name. Yeah, I was trying to convince my husband to let me name my daughters Ahsoka Tano and Sabine Wren. He didn't go for it. So so we have a dog named Luke Skywalker. So I had to win somewhere. But that's why I like Star Wars, because Star Wars is just about the hope of a new day and how good always conquers bad. And that's going to be in everything in life. Just as long as you have that conviction within yourself. And that's another thing, is I've always believed in myself, and I know I'm going to fail, and I know I'm not going to be perfect, but I at least put forth that effort that I have decided that I will be somebody important one day. And I have become somebody important because I've listened, I've learned, and I've had that conviction that I'm not going to stop until I get there.
You're already there. You have an amazing story. Yeah.
And that's another goal of mine, is I really, really want to be on the 40 under 42. And I'm like, I got a couple of years, but that's another one of my goals that I want to do over the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah. Well, I have no doubt you'll accomplish it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, this has been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys.
Lovely story. Very inspirational. You have amazing energy. So thank you for your time, and best of luck to you.
Thank you. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to get to know me.
Yes.
That's all for this episode of the Sensei Playbook. May these strategies help you build a powerful business roadmap and dominate the online marketplace right now. Be sure not to miss another episode jam-packed with valuable advice from our marketing martial artists, Bill and Chris, by subscribing to the podcast at podcast.reputationsensei.com. Don't forget to share with your friends and fellow entrepreneurs who also aspire for massive business success. Thank you for listening. Until next time.